Every story of empire has its architects and its victims. But the Subsidiary Alliance produced something more complex: architects, survivors, and the utterly destroyed. 3 dossiers, 3 fates, 1 system. First, the Systematizer. Richard Wellesley arrived in India in 1798 not as a reluctant administrator, but as a man with a mission. He had a vision, sweeping, uncompromising, and civilisational in its arrogance. He believed, with the certainty of a man who has never questioned his own superiority, in what he called the extension of British dominion and the consequent diffusion of British power. He took the Subsidiary Alliance, which had existed as a scattered, ad hoc arrangement for decades, and transformed it into a precision instrument of continental conquest. He manufactured crises to force treaties. That he threatened military action to extract signatures. He lied to Indian rulers about his intentions and then wrote home boasting about it in private minutes. In 7 years, he brought every major Indian power south of the Punjab under the system's grip. His own government recalled him in 1805, embarrassed by the audacity of his methods, but kept every inch of territory he had taken. Second, the survivor. Nizam Ali Khan of Hyderabad signed the Enhanced Subsidiary Treaty of 1798, believing he was making a rational bargain, eliminating the French military presence in Tipu Sultan's court, securing his western flank, protecting his dynasty. And in the short term, he was not entirely wrong. Hyderabad's relative wealth meant the subsidy consumed only 13 to 16% of state revenue. Painful, but not immediately fatal. So strategically useful to the company as a buffer state in the Deccan, the Nizam's dynasty survived, nominally, all the way until 1948. But survival came at a price: financial degradation, administrative stagnation, and a court permanently frozen in a posture of dependence. He had chosen the lesser poison. It worked, slowly. And third, the deposed. Nawab Wajid Ali Shah of Awadh is perhaps the most tragic figure in this entire story, because his family had done everything the company asked. For over 50 years, the Nawabs of Awadh had been loyal, compliant, paying subsidiary allies, never once mounting a serious challenge to British authority. And in 1856, the company annexed their kingdom anyway. The charge? Misgovernance. The irony is almost too savage to absorb. A state that had been systematically stripped of its army, its diplomacy, its finances, and its administrative capacity by the subsidiary system itself was now being punished for the dysfunction that system had deliberately created. Wajid Ali Shah was escorted out of his own palace, put on a boat, and sent into exile in Calcutta. He spent his final years writing poetry and composing music, the last flowering of a civilization the company had spent half a century carefully dismantling. The architect retired to his estates in England, wealthy and celebrated. The survivor endured in gilded captivity, and the deposed wrote ghazals in exile, mourning a world that would never return. Hai is zuda pashema ka pashima hona.